Putin will meet with Zelensky when, and I quote, the presidential agenda is fully ready and prepared for discussion. This was stated by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in an interview with American journalists, thereby refuting the words of US President Donald Trump. Just this Monday, after talks at the White House, he announced, Putin is ready to meet with Zelensky and the American administration has already started organizing bilateral negotiations. In response to this, Trump today compared Putin and Zelensky to vinegar and oil, saying they don't mix well together. We will discuss the details with our own TSN correspondent in the USA, Olga Koshelenko. She is live with us in the studio now, so welcome, Olga. Trump has announced that the meeting between Putin and Zelensky will take place in 2 weeks. And now the Russians are openly backtracking, which in principle was expected by all of us. What's more interesting is whether Trump will respond to this. And what are the predictions? How might the American president react?
Yes, Solia, hello. The interview of Lavrov on the American television show Meet the Press on NBC left absolutely no doubt. Russia does not want this particular meeting. But everything needs to be phrased in such a way that Zelensky is the one to blame for it. Lavrov mentioned the decree that prevents the president of Ukraine from negotiating with the Russians and was openly irritated with the host when she tried to get him to admit that a meeting is not currently being planned. Although this Monday, Trump really did call Putin during a break in negotiations with Zelensky and European leaders. And according to Trump, Putin confirmed that he was ready for a meeting and soon, sometime in about 2 weeks. White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt later confirmed that preparatory work had indeed begun on organizing the crucial talks. And then Lavrov squeezed out a no, there isn't, saying supposedly that there's no agenda for presidential negotiations.
President Putin has clearly stated that he is ready for a meeting, provided that this meeting truly has an agenda, a presidential agenda.
So that's a very big if. Mr. Foreign Minister, is there truly no meeting planned at all? That's a significant if. And you are stating that right now no meeting is currently planned.
Kristen, I'm very sorry that you're not listening. No formal meeting is currently planned, and they are certainly not denying that fact. But it seems you simply cannot understand what I am trying to say. Putin is ready to meet with Zelensky when the agenda for the summit is prepared. And that agenda is not ready at all.
So what is meant by the agenda? Reuters reported this yesterday, citing sources. Lavrov himself, in general terms, does not really hide this either. Putin is only willing to go to negotiations about Ukraine's capitulation when the entire Donbass is handed over to him without a fight. Ukraine's right to join alliances, particularly NATO, is restricted, and the non-expansion of NATO to the east is enshrined in law. And as a bonus, the rights of Russian speakers. Although this Monday, Volodymyr Zelensky stated that he is ready for negotiations with Putin without any preconditions. And it was precisely this format of meeting that was being discussed. And at these negotiations, Zelensky is ready to discuss everything with Putin, even territorial issues. It wasn't hard to predict such a reaction from the Russians. And today, Volodymyr Zelensky is making strong statements that the Russians are disrupting the negotiations in order to show the United States the unconstructive stance of Russia and the dishonesty of Putin's promises.
The Russians are now actively trying to do something entirely different to avoid meeting or engaging in any further discussions. The issue isn't just about the meeting itself. The issue is that they don't want to end the war, and since they don't want to end it, they will look for ways to keep it going. And it's necessary to reduce those opportunities. The unity of America and Europe reduces that space, the space for war.
So what exactly is the President of the United States, Donald Trump, currently doing in response to this? Just the day before, he posted on his favorite social network, Truth Social, saying that his predecessor, President Biden, did not allow Ukraine to wage an offensive war, only to defend itself. And the team, Trump himself, uses this very sports analogy, supposedly cannot truly win the match if it is only allowed to play defense and not offense. And he emphatically claims that's exactly what crooked Joe Biden did to Ukraine. That's a direct quote and a significant one. Interesting times ahead, added the President of the United States, but he did not specify exactly what he meant. Donald Trump also posted 2 black and white photographs on his Truth Social network. In one, he is poking Putin in the chest with his finger. In the other, then Vice President Nixon is doing the same to Soviet General Secretary Khrushchev. Trump did not explicitly explain whether he simply liked the striking compositional similarity of these two particular photos, or if perhaps he truly meant something much deeper by it. And indeed, today, when he was specifically asked about Russia already backing out of a crucial meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky, he thoughtfully compared Putin and Zelensky to oil and vinegar, saying that apparently they simply do not get along very well together at all. In other words, it appears that Donald Trump has not made any public complaints against Vladimir Putin, who is currently trying to back out of their scheduled meeting.
We're going to see if
We'll see if President Putin and President Zelensky will work together. You know, it's like oil and vinegar. They don't get along very well for quite obvious reasons, but we will certainly see how things unfold. Then we'll see if I truly need to be present there. I'd much prefer not to be. I'd genuinely like them to have a meeting and carefully consider how they can effectively work it out. But in the meantime, they regrettably keep fighting and tragically keep killing innocent people, which is profoundly senseless.
And right now, at this very moment in time, all eyes in the United States of America are intently focused on the recent searches at the home of former President Donald Trump's national security advisor, John Bolton, who served in his first administration. He is an experienced career diplomat with many years of professional experience. After resigning from Trump's first administration, let me repeat, his first administration, Bolton wrote a book titled The Room Where It Happened, in which he laid out many facts that point to the chaotic and often incompetent nature of Trump's foreign policy. And it is precisely this book, according to FBI sources, that is the reason for the investigation and the searches. Investigators are looking into whether Bolton disclosed any classified information in it. President Trump had previously threatened to send Bolton to prison over this book. And he, well, to put it mildly, doesn't really like his former subordinate, which he has publicly stated more than once. After all, Bolton still occasionally gives interviews where he continues to actively criticize him. And initially, by Trump's decision, Bolton was stripped of his access to state secrets and his government security detail was taken away. Although there is intelligence evidence indicating that Iran, for example, tried to settle scores with him. And today, Trump commented on this situation and said that he only learned about the search of Bolton's house from television. And he immediately added that Bolton is smart but not patriotic. And we will find everything out. Olga.
Thank you, Olga. TSN correspondent in the USA, Olga Koshelenko, was live with us just now, and in particular, she specifically told us everything that is currently known, including precisely how Donald Trump might react to the distinct possibility that a significant meeting between Volodymyr Zelensky and Vladimir Putin may not happen anytime soon. Ukraine's allies are negotiating two levels of security guarantees. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte announced this during his visit to Kyiv. The official also met with Volodymyr Zelensky at a joint press conference. Both spoke about the security guarantees being prepared for Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire. The president of Ukraine, for his part, stated that he does not yet see any indication that Russia wants to end the war. On the contrary, it is doing everything to prevent Trump from imposing sanctions. According to Zelensky, Kyiv, unlike Moscow, is ready for any meetings without any preconditions, whether in a bilateral or trilateral format. Zelensky also spoke about security guarantees, noting that the F-16 aircraft currently available in Ukraine are not enough to protect our skies. Additionally, according to the politician, Turkey had previously expressed its readiness to guarantee security in the Black Sea.
We can clearly see now that the Russians are doing absolutely everything to prevent this important meeting from taking place. Unlike Russia, Ukraine is certainly not afraid of any meetings with leaders. We are fully ready to work as productively as humanly possible. We sincerely hope that our international partners will help ensure at least a minimally productive and constructive position from the Russian side.
The first stage should come after a peace agreement or a long-term ceasefire or a combination of both. The first stage is to ensure that the armed forces of Ukraine are as strong as possible to defend this proud country and nation in the future. And the second stage is security guarantees provided by Europe and the United States. As we all know, the Budapest Memorandum and the Minsk agreements did not provide those security guarantees. So we clearly understand what it should not be. And now we are working together, Ukraine, the Europeans and the United States, so that the security guarantees are at such a level that Vladimir Putin, sitting in Moscow, would never again dare to attack Ukraine.